78.6 FM, Yoma Time, Positive Vibes with Winsome. Hey, it's great to be back, man. I always look forward to getting back in the studio and talking to everybody. And this week's no different. I have a lot of cool stuff to talk to you about. A lot of great blessings this week, man. I got to tell you, I cannot complain. You know, no matter, even if I wanted to. You know, you ever heard that statement before? I couldn't complain even if I wanted to. This is really one of those weeks. A lot of great opportunities for me to continue my future with the United States Air Force. I was selected for promotion to Senior Master Sergeant, which is E8, here on Kadena Air Base. Just was notified. And I'll be honest with you. It's exciting, very exciting opportunity. If you guys know me, you know that this entire journey, I was passed over twice before. And so this entire journey, that second passover, I just stopped thinking about Senior Master Sergeant. That strive wasn't even something I was even focused on. I was really focusing on my next chapter, retirement, and the retirement journey, you know, getting home, looking for jobs that kind of bridge what I do now, what I'm passionate about, and, of course, spending time with the kiddos. So Senior Master Sergeant wasn't really on the table, but it happened. It was an amazing blessing. So I had some decisions. As I say, I have some decisions to make. Currently in the skill bridge with the American Forces Network, Senior Master Sergeant now on the table. What am I going to do? All right. I'll talk about that in the third segment. Again, absolutely nothing. A wonderful position to be in. An amazing experience this week. Great people saying some beautiful things on Facebook. If you send a note congratulating me, thank you so much. Hopefully I was able to respond. I try to respond to everybody, but there's a lot of people. So if I didn't get to you yet, I will respond to you before the weekend's over, now that I have time. A lot of things happening this week, and we just kept it moving. All right, so first segment of the show, right? Let's get back to business. First segment of the show, 78.6 FM Yoma Time. I'm going to slow it down because I get excited, but I do remember, and I also have to keep into consideration that I am here with my family at 78.6 Yomaton Village. So there are friends of mine who are trying to learn English, and they're listening to my show. So I got to slow down, you know, the way I speak sometimes, so they can come back, read it, and then when I have the ones with the subtitles popping up, they can try to keep up with what I'm talking about. So forgive me if I slow it down, speed up, catch myself, and slow it down. But being mindful of that, and I really appreciate those folks who are listening in on the radio show, tuning in to 78.6. That really warms my whole heart. Thank you so much, folks here in Yoma Time Village. All right, moving forward. As you know, now every first segment is the thumb ball segment. That's where I toss the ball up. Bam, wherever my thumb lands, I got to answer that question. We're going to talk about it. So let's go. Let's go. I got to get a good toss. Bam. All right, so the first question is TV channels I like. TV channels. Now, if you guys don't know, this one is the icebreaker thumb ball. This is the first one I'm introduced to you guys. So TV channels I like. I guess TV's kind of, for me, cable is dead, right? Channels aren't really existing for me here. So big fan of Amazon Prime, big fan of Netflix, big fan of, let's see, Amazon Prime, Netflix, HBO Max. Yo, they've had some really dope shows on HBO Max too, and movies. Of course, I'm a huge DC fan. So Detective Comics, the comic book movies, all that stuff. So if that's out there on HBO Max, I'm watching it. Let's see, what's the next one? Fun card game. That's too easy, right? Because everybody's Uno. All right, let's go. All right. Season I enjoy most. Wow. I would say the winter season for a couple of reasons. Winter season because, A, I like cold weather. I mean, if you know me, you know I loved the adventure in Thule, Greenland. I made that adventure it was amazing. I wouldn't even go out with a parka when it was just freezing outside. I just wanted to feel the cold air. That's the I wouldn't even say that's reason number one. I would say that's one of the reasons I love winter. Another time is usually that's when I get to see family. Right? A lot of people take those breaks during the wintertime. I try to find a window, and especially with COVID, you know, I was kind of prevented from seeing family because travel was so restricted. So I would say that wintertime is really the season that I adore most. All right, let's keep it going. Bam. Next question. What makes me laugh? Oh, I like that question. What makes me laugh? Again, this is Thumball. We're tossing it up for 3 rounds. What makes me laugh? Kimmy Schmidt. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that show. It's on Netflix. The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. That show is hilarious. There's not many times that I'll watch that show without laughing. My favorite character, Titus Andromedon. I'm fighting to get that actor to do a Zoom chat with me, man, because he literally is my spirit animal. From that show, Titus is my spirit animal. So yes, the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. I don't think there's a new season going to be coming out, but I do adore that show because it makes me laugh every single time. All right, we're going to do this one more time, just for G Wiz purposes. All right, that's season I enjoyed most. We already did that. Bam. This one is magazine I read. I don't have any magazines. We need to update this, man. I don't read magazines. All right, and mountains I want to climb. Wow, that's actually a really good one. I know Mr. Gatcombe, if you're listening in on this, man. Me and Mr. Gatcombe, if you guys don't know, Jeff Gatcombe in San Antonio, one of my mentors, big brothers, buddies, friends, you name it. He loves hiking, and I know he's retired second time over. So I don't know what mountain he has for me, but the mountain I want to hike is going to be with Mr. Gatcombe, and hopefully I can bring my little ones so we could all get a little hike on. And if he wants to go extreme, then we can do that, just me and him, right? But yeah, he's a big hiker. I'm not. That's one of the things that I haven't really gotten into. I do like to explore, but hiking mountains has not been my thing yet. I will say that, yet. All right, so that was just a quick little experience with Thumball. I'm going to do this every first segment. It's going to be a different one every time. This is the icebreaker ball. Always a good time to bring that stuff out, man, and start the conversation up. What that did lead me to was really cool is because it's talking about what channels I like, right? And a couple of channels, especially Netflix right now. Man, I like scary stuff. So if you guys don't know me, I enjoy scary stuff. There was a show called We're All Dead, like zombies. I think it's a Korean-made film. And it's called We're All Dead, and it takes place in a school. And the school, of course, this big outbreak, and it spreads all through the city. So I'm on episode, I want to say like 5 or 6, and it's really dope. Really enjoying that one. But also, there's a couple of movies that dropped. Ryan Reynolds just had a movie that I really thoroughly enjoyed. I mean, it pleased every movie fan sensation of mine, right? It was The Adam Project on Netflix. So if you have not seen that yet, if you have Netflix and you want to see a good movie this weekend, check out The Adam Project. That was a really dope movie. A lot of adventure, a lot of comedy, a little bit of everything. I mean, a couple times you want to tear up if you didn't. So really, truly, take a second to try to check that one out. Kind of reminds me of another favorite of mine. It's called 8-Bit that I saw on Netflix. Happened to see that one with my kiddo before I came here. Same thing. It was really funny. That was a really cute movie. It took me way back to my childhood watching. Like instantly I can connect because it takes place back in the 90s, right? When Nintendo, I want to say 80s or 90s, excuse me, when Nintendo was out. And it's really a really funny movie. And if you haven't seen it yet, it's a family. Both movies are family friendly. I'm not throwing nothing out here that you can't watch with your kids, right? So 8-Bit and The Adam Project, definitely movies. If you want something family friendly, want to make you laugh, the other one's a full adventure. So check those out. There's a one that came out, I want to say on the 24th or 25th it comes out. Michelle Yeoh, if I'm saying her name correctly, Any Place, Anywhere or something. That's another Netflix movie. I have the title for you guys next week. It's not out yet, so I know it's coming, and I'll talk about it. But I'm really excited to see that because it brings back one of my favorite characters from Goonies. Y'all remember Data from Goonies, the little 007 kid? He's going to be in this as a full-grown adult. He had been away from movies for a while. He took a break, and he watched this actress. I forget which movie he had seen her in, and he was like, yo, I want to get back into film. And the craziest thing is, getting back in the film, he has an opportunity now to work with her, which he's really excited about. There's an interview, if you guys haven't checked it out. I'll bring the name up next time, probably next Saturday, so you guys can look into it for yourself. But I do know this, 25 March. So look at Netflix, 25 March releases, you'll see the full name. I didn't write all that down. It just kind of popped into the dome. as I was speaking. But hey, that's for me, and hopefully for some of you, when you guys just, especially when the weather's bad outside, you got some time off, you just want to relax. That's what I do. Like the question was, what channels you like? I'm not a sports guy. I don't sit here and root for basketball, football teams. Those guys get paid a lot of money to do what they do. I respect it, but it's not something that keeps me entertained. Definitely can't watch golf. It's too boring for me. So, I mean, these are all things that I can't get into. Soccer is just long. Baseball is boring. So I try to get into these things that actually intrigue me, right? Stories, books. But when it comes to escapism, and that's the word I use for that, escapism. With everything going on in the world right now, you know me, I got to bring it back, right? I got to bring it back. With everything going on in the world right now, it's easy to get caught up in the media hype, caught up in things you wouldn't even know about if you didn't turn the TV on, caught up in things that have absolutely nothing to do with you. And there's so many stories, some of the world that are concerning, some of the world are really sad, but some that's like, I could have went a whole week without even caring about this, right? Where do you put your energy? Where do you focus your energy on? I had a lot of great conversations with some folks I'm coaching right now, and one of them was about that. You got to control and protect your energy, right? Protect your peace. You involve yourself in a lot of things that have absolutely nothing to do with you. And what you do with that is, if you're already spread thin with your energy, your time, and then you're putting time and energy into something that's really doesn't have any bearing, it really has absolutely nothing to do with your future. If you weren't a part of this, would you move forward? Yes. Then care about it. But if you weren't a part of it, or should I say, only care about it if it has any effect on where you're going next. Your life, your mindset, your future, your goals, your money, those are the things you care about. That has to do with you. However, if it doesn't affect you, your household, your sleep, your pillow, why are you concerning yourself with it? Some things you got to let happen that has nothing to do with you. You can't control it. And if you've heard this statement before, and I'm repeating it, forgive me, but you can only control things that are within your control. So when I'm coaching, I bring it back real patient, right? So I'm hearing people say, yeah, you know, this is going on with this friend and this person. I told one, I said, what does that have to do with you? Honestly. And sometimes people will call an acquaintance a friend. So you got acquaintances stealing energy that haven't earned it, right? So what does that have to, first question, how does this affect me when dealing with a situation? Is it something that I can walk away from and it has no bearing on my life, then I'm walking away. If it's something that if I walk away from, it's going to affect me later, then I need to deal with it. Protect your peace. Protect your energy. Understand where you're giving your energy out to. And like I said, I brought that up because we're talking about escapism. What escapism are the things that you do to get away from the everyday monotony. The things you do for you. Some people play video games, right? Some people watch movies. Some people like to go hiking. Some people, like me, go up to the lighthouse, listening to something motivational and walk around it just to escape every day. I do that. I don't go every day, but I escape the everyday shenanigans by going up there at least once a week. And you'll see me. If you're here in Yomaton, go to the Zampa Lighthouse, and you'll see me walking around there, usually on Saturdays with my music on, and listening to some motivational, feeling the wind hit my face. And just nothing that's going on ground zero affects me. Because for that moment, for that hour, for that 45 minutes, 2 hours, however long I stay up inside to listen to how many tracks going through motivational speeches and words of power, it's just for me, my mindset to shift. Me to get ready, usually for this show, to be honest with you. I go up there, I'm like, I want to walk in here and I don't want my mindset to be on anything that happened this week. This is my reset button. Click. And I go up there, I walk around, and that for me is escapism. So ask yourself, what is yours? At 1,440 minutes in a day, how much time do you give yourself to escape for a minute? Right? And what is your escape? Do you have one? Is it healthy? All right? Yo, 78.6 FM Yomaton, positive vibes with Winston. We're talking about escapism. We're coming back, talking about some more stuff right after this break. 78.6 FM Yoma Time, Positive Vibes of Winston. We're back. I'm so excited, always excited to be back in the booth with you. So this week, as I told you, was a great week. You know, I had some great folks reach out to me, tell me congratulations. One of the really super cool things that happened was my good friend, Masai Dafar. I won't call him by his government name, his old name, right? But he's changed his name, really good guy. Masai Dafar, really went way back from my football days and when I was trying to get the team started back then, when I had limbs, right? My knees work right? He connected me with someone who was an author of a children's book, a friend of his. And I was like, what I'm doing with a children's book, speaking on the radio, man? I give love to everybody, but what's the book about? Like, because my show is about positive vibes. Of course, it's a kid's book, and I'm sure it's positive, but what's the message, right? What is the book about? So he said, hey, man, so I have a friend, and she writes children's books, and she actually published one. It'd probably be really cool to chat with her. I said, yeah, all right, man, let's do an interview. Let's see what the book's about. I didn't ask. I was going to reach out to this young lady, and while I'm going through all this, I guess you can call it wonderful blessings and information and all the, this week has been crazy. But I got something in the mail. I was like, I didn't order anything, right? Except for my Bang Energy drinks. I didn't order anything else. Well, what it was the book was sent to me. And I want to say thank you because y'all may not realize it, but when you get stuff in the mail unexpectedly, especially when you had a busy week and it's just, kind of shifts your mindset a little bit. And I really do appreciate the positive shift. Miss India Stewart has wrote a book, and it's called Still Good. I want to show you, right? India Stewart wrote a book called Still Good. And her book, I'm going to tell you, it's so adorable. I'm actually going to send this to my daughter immediately. I just read it this morning when I was preparing for today's show. And let me tell y'all, man, it is so cute. It's about a young lady. I won't ruin it for the folks who want to get it. A little girl in elementary school, and she's going through, had a rough day. It's all about perspective. It's all about mindset and how she got through her day when negative things happen. Beautiful story. It's real quick, real simple. It's not a long, detailed read. It may look a little thick, but trust me, it is very cute. It's adorable. I highly recommend it to anybody with kids and kids who often have bad days and get frustrated with those days, right? It's called Still Good from India Stewart. India, we haven't talked yet. Thank you. I got it, and I can't wait for us to do our interview so we can actually talk about your process, what brought you to writing about the book, and where the story derived from. Beautiful story, guys, a cute message, and still good. India, you may not realize it, but you set me up for today's show. Still good. And if you guys have been following me for a few years, if you know my story, I love to tell people I'm still standing. So that's why this touched me so deeply in my heart when I read that. I was like, I like this because no matter what happens to you, you're still standing. You're still good. No matter what you go through, you're still standing. You're still good. No matter how much it may hurt when it happens, you're still standing. You're still good. Even when you get knocked down, if you can get back up, you're still standing. You're still good. India, thank you so much. Yes. That's exactly what this story is about. No matter what we go through, we can't let one bad incident, one bad situation in a day mess up your whole day. That's just something bad that happened. You can't let one bad day mess up your week. You can't let one bad week mess up your month. You see where we're going with this? You have to take control of your day, take control of those moments, and you have to go through them and realize, hey, I'm still good. I'm still here. I'm still standing. I'm still good. Still standing, still strong, still good. I got this. Let me tell you something for the adults listening right now. No matter what you're going through, you got this. No matter how hard your week has been, you got this. No matter what's going on in your life, relationships, financially, in the world around you, you got this. You see, what I'm here to tell you today, thanks to India's book and the motivation I got from reading that cute book, man, you have to realize that things happen for you sometimes so that you can get through it and be stronger on the other end. You have to go through the story because sometimes at the finish line, when you get there, you realize somebody else is running a race very similar to yours, and they need you. You have to realize that sometimes you go through these things because there's a lesson to be learned. Some people don't see the lesson through the pain, but when they get through the pain, sometimes the lesson is obvious. It's clear. It's right in front of you. You are still here, and you made it through this. You are still standing, and you made it through this. Let me tell you a story. I know someone who's gotten through depression. They've beat it. I know someone who's beat anxiety. I know someone who struggles with insomnia, but they're still focused at work. I know someone who went through a horrible divorce, doesn't have custody of their children, but they're still standing. I know someone who experienced bankruptcy, one of the scariest things to go through when it comes to your finances and financial stability, but when they got to the other end of it, they were still standing. I know some folks who lost everything. There's stories all over the internet of people who lost everything. And slowly but surely, they built themselves back up. And guess what? They're still good. You see, they had to go through some pain. They went through something. But they fought. They stayed true to themselves. And at the end of the day, not only were they stronger for the experience, but not only did they build confidence in themselves that they can survive those things, but their character. Let me tell you something. When you go through things and you survive them, when you go through things and you still maintain a level head, when you go through things and you still keep your head up, your character shines at the end. And people say, well, you know, he might do something when everybody's around. He might seem positive. He might seem like he's in a great mood, but then he goes home and he sulks and he's depressed. And let me tell you something. It's a fight when you're going through something. Your emotions are going to do a roller coaster. You may not even have full control of your emotions, but the fact that you're fighting through it so that you can still take care of your business, you can still take care of others, and you're still getting through the day, you're still good. You're still here. That alone is a story in itself. And people don't realize how powerful their story is because they don't tell it. They just go through it. They don't realize that not everybody survives these things. Not everybody is willing to fight. A lot of people give up. They just call in, throw in the chips, and they could have been so close to that finish line or that shift, and they're just throwing a towel because something doesn't feel good. Because they don't like the uncomfortableness. They don't like the way they look in society. They don't like the way it sounds when people say their name and associate it. Let me tell you something. When you get through it, none of that matters. None of it matters. Doesn't matter what people think about you when you're going through stuff. What do you think about you? Doesn't matter what people say about you. What do you say about you? Because when no one's watching, when you think that statement, nobody's watching me, there's always somebody watching you. And that person is you. Not just when you look yourself in the mirror, but that person that you're going to be in a few years that's looking back and seeing how you handled these situations. That person is going to look back and say, wow, we did this. That person is going to look back and say, man, I acted like that? You got choices. So what do you do with the time that you have and the situations you go through, and how do you handle it, and how do you focus on controlling only what's within your control? It's hard. It's not easy. Because your mind wants to dabble in everything. Your mind wants to try to control things that are not within your control. Your mind's going to lie to you. Your mind's going to tell you it's your problem when it's not. Your mind's going to tell you that things are worse than they are. Your mind's going to tell you that you can't do it. And I've told you this before. Sometimes you got to tell your mind to shut up. And you fight. And you remember that in your heart, you know what you're capable of. That's when you tell your brain to shut up and you tell your heart to step up. Because your heart's been, the whole time, your heart's been right there. Beating. Without you controlling it. Without you telling it how many beats per second. Without you, per minute. Without you telling it how fast or how slow to beat. Your heart has been there. And your spirit is normally telling you something. Right? You feel it in your, they say you feel it in your gut. I got a gut feeling about this. No, let me tell you something. That's your spirit telling you what you should and shouldn't do. Each and every one of you, what makes you unique, it's your energy. And what you choose to do with it is everything. That determines everything. And that's why you hear all these conversations with different places and different jobs about work-life balance. Because usually the people who are having these conversations haven't figured out work-life balance, right? So they're trying to tell you what they haven't mastered. That's why you never get a real, true, functional answer about work-life balance. That's a whole nother conversation. Because there's never going to be, again, whole nother conversation. Work-life balance. What is within your control? What do you have control over? And what are your priorities? You see where we got, where this conversation took us? Let me tell you something, man. No matter what you're feeling right now, you're still good. You got this. I ain't write this speech yet, but I am. I know it's going to be called You Got This. Inspired by your book, India. Thank you. You gave me a boost today. Let me tell you, I'll keep fighting. For you, your family, what's important to you, what you want to do next. Keep fighting for your why, for your purpose. Don't let anything or anyone throw you off that. Another conversation I was having today is, listen to me, there's going to be people who don't have your heart, that are trying to give you information about what you should do with your life. You should just laugh, listen, be respectful, whatever you got to do. But you do what you do want to do for you. That's your life, your story, your pen, not theirs. If you give somebody that much control over you, then you probably might want to reset your life and look at everything, because that is your life. You only get one. Usually these people have already lived theirs, made their decisions, and may not be where you want to be in life. Now, if you're taking advice from somebody who's not where you want to be, that's another problem. That's a whole nother conversation. Listen, advice is fine. But at the end of the day, the decisions you make, you have to live with. You move on to the next step. That's your story. You hold the pen. 78.6 FM. We'll be right back. .6 FM Yoma Time, Positive Vibes of Winston. We were coming back talking about India Stewart's book, Still Good. If you guys didn't see it in the last segment, or if you didn't hear me over the radio, India Stewart, she wrote Still Good. It is a really cute book, recommended for the kids. We talked about what I like watching on Netflix. We did a thumb ball toss. I answered the 3 questions. Actually, I think I went 4 today just for the Gee Whiz purpose of it. Last but not least, man, it's the 3rd segment, which we talk about, always dedicated to the Air Force Wounded Warrior Wellness and Resiliency Team. Someone asked me the other day, why? Why do you dedicate this segment? Well, I'll tell you, when I was getting started, coming back from running a radio station in Greenland, that team allowed me to do so much wonderful things, so many wonderful things, with virtual interviews, sessions, discussions, being involved in something from here, being connected to a family, a group of individuals, amazing individuals in the United States was one of the probably most honoring and humbling opportunities I've ever had. I was very honored and humbled to be a part of that. So I continue, even from afar, to support. And we hadn't got together, but right now they're talking about embracing change. And if you heard me in the first segment, you heard me talking about the promotion opportunity I have versus everything that I'm already doing and the momentum towards retirement. So for me, a lot of that is decision making, pros and cons, seeing what my goals and purpose and why really are. Then, of course, you test both avenues, what ifs, right? So your mind goes in different places when you're trying to make those types of decisions. But I guarantee you, I don't just do it and just leave it all in my head. I write it out. Talk to people that I trust. That's one of those things that I don't think is mentioned enough. Talking to people that you trust. Because a lot of folks give their energy in these conversations to people that really don't have their best interests at heart. That's dangerous. Very dangerous. So if you are going through something, decision-making opportunities in front of you, make sure that you have those role models, mentors, someone you can go to that have your best interests at heart. That's why I love coaching. I'm very neutral. And when I have those conversations with people, I'm telling them, I'm doing this for you. Like, this is your time. You tell me what you need, and I will listen. And if you tell me you want me to tell you something, I got you. If you tell me you just want me to listen, I'll do that. But what do you need? Because I got that person's best interest at heart. Do you want advice? Or do you just want me to listen? I love that question, right? All right, check this out. Do you want advice? Or do you just want to work this through your head? And I just throw questions at you. What are you trying to do right now? So being a resiliency coach, a mindset coach, it kind of is cool because you get to see people shift over time. The way they think about and approach situations. I had a talk yesterday with a young man talking about embracing change. He's about to separate. Didn't really have a plan, but he kind of put all his eggs in one basket. And so I started asking him questions about his next chapter and started throwing some pros and cons at him. And you could see we're on Zoom, you could see the wheel spinning, right? I was like, that's going to a trusted source that has your best interests at heart, that can make you think, and your decision at the end of the day is going to be an informed decision if you trust the right people. Embracing change can be transitioning, any kind of transition, moves. They say some of the most stressful things, right, are moving. Why? Because there's so much involved in the transition. It's stressful for people. That change, your mind is doing so many different movements and activities at one time. It's very stressful. And the things that go involved in it, mentally, physically, financially, spiritually. Come on, man. Moving is hard. Changing everything you know. When you've been in the military like myself for like 24 years, coming up on, you start realizing like, wow, change is hard. And it's not about me transitioning. I mean like PCSing. So every time, a PCS is a permanent change of station. So every couple of years, you have to move. Imagine that. You get close to a family, a neighbor, and they've been in this house 10 years. They're going to be there probably 10 more, but you got to move. And you're close to this family. Imagine somebody who works with you. You guys get real close at work. They got to move. So the military teaches you how to be, I guess you call it flexible with movement and getting to know people and knowing that you may not be around them as long as you may want. The only thing that sucks about that is you kind of get used to it. So like in my situation right now, when I'm talking to people, I'm like, I can't expect me from them because all of these transitions are different for everyone. And I always remind myself that I'm used to moving. I'm used to being in locations where I'm stuck for a year, right? In environments where it's 4 months of darkness, 4 months of daylight. Electricity and Wi-Fi doesn't always work. I'm used to that. But not everybody is. So when I'm having those conversations, I got to approach it like, okay, this person may not have the same mindset as me, maybe the same perspective. 99% of the time they don't because their experiences are different. It's a different person, different life story. So I say all that to say this, man. Don't try to go through these things without writing it down. Have a plan. If you're trying to minimize stress, have a plan. If you're trying to identify your pros and cons, write it down. Come up with a plan. So what is it going to say? Hey, if I have this amount of pros, if I have this amount of cons, the pros outweigh the cons, vice versa. What is your plan? How are you going to attack it? Don't just write stuff down for no reason. Have a plan of what you're writing and why. What's your storyline? What's your end game? What's your why? Right? So a lot of decisions that we make, a lot of things that we do, we don't have a why behind it. When there's no why behind it, the energy isn't there that you might need. The motivation isn't there that you might need. The courage that you need to pull from within you to do it isn't there. So I ask you, what is your why when you're doing these things? Think about that when you write it down. Another thing I had to tell someone this week, or I wouldn't say had to tell, another thing I suggested to someone too is reverse engineer it. Me and Mr. G mentioned this last week or 2 weeks ago. What's your plan? Where are you trying to get to? Reverse engineer it and write out the steps that you need to take to get there. What are some of the pitfalls that you might encounter? What are some of the issues you might run into? That's called reverse engineering it. You got your finish line. You're writing out the steps to get to your finish line, and then you know how long it takes to get to each step. You got a plan. And then you start writing in possible limiting factors that you are aware of. This might be an issue. Write it down. That way you can have a plan to get around it, or a plan to counter it, or a plan to maneuver time, or whatever your steps are. Those are the things that are important when you're trying to come up and be positive when approaching change. I know I'm going to have to do this. I know I'm going to have to move. I know I'm going to have to shift. I know I'm going to have to quit my job. I know I'm going through a divorce. I know all these changes. When you try to mentally prepare yourself for them, write this stuff out. Sit down with someone that you trust. Let me tell you, some of the situations I just mentioned, you can't go through those things talking to everybody about it, because all those experiences from other people aren't the same as yours. And all it's going to do is cause you anxiety or have you going down a path that someone else took because it sounds like that's what you're supposed to know. Trust it, even if it's a therapist, a counselor, coach, whatever you want to do, make sure that before you start sitting down and sharing all this energy with people, that it's a trusted source so you can protect your peace at the end of the day. That's it. I'm not telling you to do anything else. My goal is to tell you to protect your peace, right? And I have no qualms with that, because I think that's the most important thing that we can do the older we get. I'm sorry, I'm setting up this other camera. So when you're looking at protecting your peace, what is your peace? What does your peace look like to start off with? And why is it important to you? Nobody wakes up each day and say, I want drama. I hope not. I hope you're not that person. There are some people that like drama, but they don't want drama in their own lives. A lot of people just want to get through the day, right? Other people, they want to seize the day. I know those people. I want to seize the day. I want to get everything I can out of the day. Sometimes that's me. 90% of the time that's me. I want to get as much. I wake up early so I can get as much out of that day before the sun goes down, right? And then other times I'm just tired. I ain't gonna lie to you. And it happens. We're just tired. So you want to seize the day, but man, I seized yesterday, right? I have a friend, man, and she's so awesome. She was telling me she was at an event this week, and she's an extroverted introvert, which means she's able to be extroverted when the situation calls for it. So what happened was she was not in the mood to be extroverted, and it wasn't really mandatory to be so. So she was in a little zone, just observing. Come to find out, someone identified that she was just in her zone being introverted, and they thought something was wrong. So here it went from one person to another person, and on down the line, about 20 people whispering that something may be wrong with my friend. She told me the story, I was blown away. So someone in a position to approach her with it says, hey, 20 people approached me and said something might be wrong with you. This is my first problem with that. Why did it get to 20 people before someone said something? Why wasn't the first person, if they were any kind of friend, to go and say, hey, I'm just checking on you, man. I know you're probably just chilling, but you know, some folks are kind of seeing you as having a problem or something might be wrong. How easy is that? How simple would that have been, just to nip it in the bud and say, hey, you good? Just checking on you. And then relay the message. Hey, she's good, y'all. She's just chilling. What y'all tripping for? That's what a friend does. That's what someone who has your best interest. Remember, I told you, people who have your best interest, but not everybody thinks like that. Some people, like I mentioned earlier as well, like drama, right? They need it. They crave it. It just has to be a part of their day so they get a little boost. Sad, but when I get my next psychologist in here, we'll talk about personality disorders, and why that's really sad, but it exists, man. It's just the way people are. They feed off of it. So anyway, what I told her was, I said, you be you. If they don't know you well enough to know that, like I do, that you're an extrovert or introvert and you pick and choose, then maybe they don't deserve to know you. Give them what you have to. Protect your energy and protect your peace. I'll say it again. Protect your energy, protect your peace. Not everybody deserves all of you. 1, 2, 3. Not everybody deserves all of you. So, pick and choose. You deserve it. It's your energy. It's your peace. You don't owe it to everybody. If you're going to work and you're supposed to be positive, you're supposed to be professional, be professional. But every day is not a good day. Not every day is going to be bubbly. Some days you're going to have to focus. Some days you're going to have to grind your toes into the ground to get through it because you're going through something. You're human. And it's okay to be human. Some days you might want to break down and cry because you're experiencing something. You're human. Go somewhere and let them tears out. Those tears mean something. And if someone acts like they can't understand it, why you're feeling the way you do, let me tell you something. When their days happen, they do the same thing. Exact same thing. Don't let anyone try to fool you and tell you like they don't have emotions. And there's 466 different emotions on the emotional wheel. I know it's a lot of them. Let me tell you something. You are human. Your heart's beating every day, just like everybody around you walking around. We have emotions, we have thoughts, we have our own story. Own yours. Protect your peace. And embrace change. Embrace change. Good, bad, or indifferent. Change is growth. Sometimes you got to shift to grow. Sometimes you can't be comfortable where you are. You got to move and do something different. And I say that because I'm living that. Not everything that you know is who you are or what you need to be doing. Sometimes you got to take a look at what's going to be the growth path for you. And it may be a very challenging path. It may be a path that is not guaranteed. It may be a path that's scary. It may be a path that's everyone else is like, I don't know if you should. It may be a path people are like, if I was you, but it's a path that you choose. It's a path that you've chosen. It's the path that you said, I'm going to put my toes in the ground and I'm fighting for this next couple of steps. Whatever happens, I'm at peace with my decision and I'm moving. Make that choice for you. Make these choices in your life for you. Because at the end of the day, the only person that you have to answer for, the only person that you have to answer to is you. Period. No matter how it affects anybody else, you. Be your own best friend. Love yourself. Trust yourself. And back yourself. Winsome. What are you going to do? You are loved, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. See you next week.